You think this pain means you're broken? No, you're becoming. Becoming what, you ask? Becoming the storm that swallowed you whole. Becoming the fire that left nothing but ashes in its wake. You don't see it yet, but this agony, it's not the end of you, it's the beginning. I know what you're feeling. I feel it too. It's the weight of the mistakes you couldn't undo. The screams of those you couldn't save. The endless, God-forsaken nights where every breath felt like a betrayal. You hate yourself for surviving, don't you? For still being here when everything else has burned away. But listen to me. Listen hard. You're not weak because you feel. You're not cursed because you bleed. And you're damn sure not broken because the world couldn't crush your spirit completely. Do you know what broken really looks like? Broken is giving up. Broken is letting them win. Those voices in your head telling you that you're nothing, they're liars. Every scar you wear, every tear you've cried, every piece of your soul that's been ripped apart, they're proof. Proof that you're still here, still fighting, still refusing to let the darkness take you. You want to cry, cry. You want to scream, scream until the heavens hear you. But don't you dare lay down and die. Not now, not after everything you've endured. They'll tell you to move on, won't they? They'll tell you to stop dwelling on the past, to stop feeling so damn much. But they don't understand. They weren't there. They didn't see what you saw. They didn't lose what you lost. And maybe, just maybe, you don't want to let it go. Maybe the pain is the only thing that reminds you that you're alive, that you cared, that you tried. But here's the truth, the real, bitter, unforgiving truth. You can't carry it forever. Every warrior has a breaking point. And maybe you've hit yours. But you know what? That's okay. Because breaking doesn't mean ending. It means rebuilding. It means reforging yourself in the flames of everything that tried to destroy you. I've walked this road before. I've fallen to my knees and begged for it to end. And you know what I found? Nothing. No savior. No light at the end of the tunnel. Just the cold, hard truth that no one was coming for me. So I had a choice. I could stay down, let the darkness take me, or I could rise. Not because I felt strong, not because I felt ready, but because there was no other option. You're standing on that same edge, aren't you? You're staring into the abyss, wondering if it's worth it. Wondering if you've got anything left to give. Let me tell you something. You do. You've got more fight in you than you'll ever know. But you won't see it unless you push through this. Unless you stop treating this pain like a curse and start seeing it for what it really is. A test. The world doesn't care about your tears, doesn't care about your scars, but you should. Every wound is a story. Every heartbreak is a lesson. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Do you think warriors are born in comfort? No. We're forged in fire, in loss, in agony. We're shaped by the battles we barely survived, by the nights we spent wondering if we'd see the sun again. And you're not broken. You're becoming. You're becoming the kind of person who can look back on this moment and say, I survived. You're becoming the warrior who doesn't just endure the storm, but becomes it. You're becoming the strength you never knew you had. So stop hiding from your pain. Stop running from your shadows. Face them. Feel them. Fight them. And when the day comes that you finally rise from this hell, you'll realize something you never saw before. The pain didn't break you. It built you. And on that day, when you look in the mirror, you'll see not the broken soul you think you are now, but the warrior you were always meant to be. So, cry your tears, mourn your losses, but don't you dare give up. Not now, not ever. Because you're not broken, you're becoming. You think this is the end of your story? You think all that pain, all those nights spent staring at nothing, were for nothing? No, this isn't the end. It's just the chapter where you learn what you're made of. The world doesn't hand out victories. It doesn't offer peace. It doesn't care how much you've suffered or how much you've lost. But you don't need it too. You're not here to ask for mercy. You're here to take everything they said you couldn't have. Look at these scars. Look at your hands. Do they look like the hands of someone who's done fighting? No. These are the hands of someone who's still in the fight. Someone who's refused to let the world grind them into dust. You think you're weak because you've fallen. Weakness isn't in falling. It's in refusing to get back up. It's in believing the lies they fed you. That you'll never be enough. That you'll never rise from this. But every time you stood back up, you proved them wrong. And you're going to do it again. Do you hear me? You're going to rise. Not because it's easy, not because you feel strong, but because deep down you know you were made for more than this. I know you feel alone. I know the weight of the world feels unbearable right now. I know what it's like to stare into the void and see nothing staring back. But you're not alone in this. Every scar you carry is proof that someone else tried to stop you and failed. Think of all the battles you fought, the ones you thought you'd never survive, and yet here you are. You might be battered, you might be bruised, but you're still standing, and that's more than most can say. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next step, one step, and then another, and another. It doesn't matter if you stumble. It doesn't matter if you fall. What matters is that you keep moving forward, no matter how slow, no matter how painful. Because every step you take is another nail in the coffin of the voices that told you you couldn't do it. You think they care about you, those voices? No. They want you to fail. They want you to believe that this is all you'll ever be. But they don't know you. They don't know the strength it takes just to get out of bed in the morning, to face a world that feels like it's crumbling around you. You're stronger than they'll ever know. You're not just surviving, you're learning. Learning to live with the weight of your past. Learning to carry your scars with pride. Learning to face the darkness and say, "You will not take me." And when you come out on the other side of this, because you will, you'll see that every moment of pain, every tear, every sleepless night was worth it. Not because it felt good, not because it was easy, but because it made you who you are. A warrior isn't made in comfort. A warrior is made in the fire, in the chaos, in the moments when they think they can't go on, but do it anyway. That's who you are. That's who you've always been. So stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop waiting for the pain to go away. Take it. Own it. Use it. Let it fuel you. Let it shape you. Let it forge you into the weapon you were always meant to be. You're not broken. You're not defeated. You're becoming something more. Something unstoppable. Every time they doubted you, every time they turned their backs on you, they handed you the very thing that will destroy them. Resolve. They wanted you to fall. They wanted you to stay down. But they don't get to decide your story. You do, and your story isn't over. Not even close. So stand up, not because you feel strong, but because you are strong. Cry if you have to. Scream if you need to. But don't stop. Don't ever stop. Because you're not broken. You're becoming. Do you feel it? The weight pressing on your chest like the world itself is trying to crush you. I know that weight. I've lived with it for so long, I almost believed it was a part of me. Almost. But let me tell you something. The weight doesn't define you. What you do under it does. You think that tears make you weak. You think that trembling in your hands means you've lost? No. Those tears mean you care. They mean you're still alive, still feeling, still fighting, even if every breath burns like hell. That's not weakness, that's strength. And that pain in your chest, that unbearable ache, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something new, something raw and real, the kind of strength you can't buy, the kind that's earned in the trenches of your darkest nights. But it's hard, isn't it? It's so damn hard to keep going when every step feels heavier than the last. When the faces of the ones you've lost haunt you at every turn. When you can't even look at yourself without feeling shame. I know it all. I know the guilt that eats away at you like a parasite. The endless questions. What if I'd done more? What if I'd been stronger? What if I'd fought harder? But those questions won't change anything. They're chains, binding you to a past you can't undo. You can't save what's already gone. You can't rewrite the mistakes you've made. But you can learn. You can grow. You can take all that pain, all that anger, and use it to become something greater. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't get easier. It doesn't hand out second chances. It will beat you down over and over until you feel like there's nothing left of you. But every time you rise, every time you push through the pain, you prove that you're more than the sum of your scars. Do you think the legends were made in times of peace? Do you think the greatest warriors never knew loss, never felt fear. No, they were forged in moments like this, in the darkness, in the silence, when no one was watching, and the only thing they had to hold on to was the fire inside them, the fire that refused to be extinguished. And that fire, it's in you too. Even now, even when you feel like nothing more than a hollow shell, that fire is still there. You just have to find it, stoke it, feed it with everything they told you would break you. You think this darkness will last forever, but it won't. Even the longest nights end eventually, but you have to survive them. You have to claw your way through, inch by bloody inch, until you see the light again. And when you do, you'll realize that the darkness wasn't your enemy. It was your teacher. You learned, didn't you? You learned how to endure, how to fight, how to keep breathing even when every part of you begged to stop. That's not weakness. That's strength most people will never understand. You're not just a survivor. You're a warrior, a force of nature, the kind of person who doesn't just face the storm, but becomes it. But I know you don't feel that way right now. I know you feel small, broken, like you're nothing but the pieces of someone who used to be whole. But let me tell you something. Those pieces, they're sharp, they're jagged, and they're stronger than they've ever been. You're not broken. You're becoming the kind of person who can walk through hell and come out the other side, not untouched, but unbroken. The kind of person who doesn't just survive, but thrives, who takes every scar, every wound, and wears them like armor. Do you know why? Because those scars, they tell a story. A story of someone who refused to give up. Someone who stared into the abyss and didn't blink. Someone who kept going even when they had every reason to stop. And that someone, that's you. So stand tall, not because you feel ready, but because you are ready. Face the pain, face the fear, face everything that's been holding you back, and show it that you're stronger than it ever imagined. Because this isn't the end, it's the beginning. And when the dust settles, when the darkness fades, you'll see yourself for what you truly are. Not broken, not defeated, but forged in fire. A warrior, a survivor, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. You're not broken. You're becoming. You think the worst is behind you, don't you? That you faced the deepest pain, and nothing could ever cut you that deep again. But let me tell you the truth. The worst isn't what you've lost. It's what's still ahead. Because the hardest battles aren't fought with swords or fists. They're fought in silence, in the dead of night, when there's no one left to fight but yourself. And you will fight yourself. Oh, you will tear yourself apart 1,000 times over. You will question every choice you've ever made, every path you didn't take. You will wonder if you are enough. And those doubts, they'll cut deeper than any blade ever could. But here's what they don't tell you about those battles. They're not meant to destroy you. They're meant to rebuild you, to strip away everything that isn't you, everything that isn't real, until all that's left is the core of who you are. And that core, it's unbreakable. But you won't see it right away. No, you'll spend nights like this, wandering through the wreckage of your own mind, looking for answers that don't come. You'll feel the weight of your regrets like a blade against your throat. And you'll think about giving up. I know you will. Because I've been there. I've stood at the edge of the abyss and looked down, thinking maybe it would be easier to fall than to keep climbing. I've felt the pull of the darkness, the seductive promise that all the pain would end if I just let go. But I didn't. And do you know why? Because something inside me refused to die. Even when I wanted to give up, even when I begged for the pain to stop, there was a part of me, a small, quiet part, that whispered, "Not yet." That voice, it's inside you too. You might not hear it now. It might be buried beneath all the noise, all the pain. But it's there, waiting for you to listen. And when you do, you'll realize something you never saw before. You were never truly alone. Because every step you've taken, every tear you've shed, every moment you thought you couldn't go on, you weren't walking away from yourself. You were walking toward who you were always meant to be. But becoming that person, it's not easy. It's messy, it's brutal, it's painful in ways you can't put into words. And it doesn't happen overnight. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress. Days when you fall back into the same patterns, the same doubts, the same darkness. But those days, They don't define you. What defines you is what you do next. Do you stay down? Do you let the weight of your failures keep you there? Or do you get back up one more time and keep moving forward? Because that's what it means to be a warrior. It's not about never falling. It's about never staying down. You've lost people, haven't you? People who mattered. People who shaped you. People who left holes in your heart that will never fully heal. But here's the thing about those holes. They don't make you less. They don't make you weak. They make you human. And being human, it's the hardest, most beautiful thing you'll ever do. You carry their memory with you. Every step you take, every battle you fight, you carry them, not as a burden, but as a reminder. A reminder of what you've lost, yes, but also of what you've gained. Because every person you've loved, every person you've lost, has left a piece of themselves with you. And those pieces, they're what make you whole. You're not broken, you're becoming. Becoming the kind of person who can look back on their pain and say, this didn't destroy me. Becoming the kind of person who can take the lessons of the past and use them to build a future worth fighting for. But that future, it won't come to you. You have to fight for it. You have to claw your way through the darkness, through the doubt, through the fear. And when you do, you'll find something waiting for you on the other side. Not peace, not perfection, but purpose. Because that's what all of this has been about, hasn't it? Finding your purpose. Finding the reason you're still here, still breathing, still fighting. And maybe you don't know what that reason is yet. Maybe it feels like it's buried beneath the weight of everything you've lost. But it's there. And one day you'll see it. One day you'll look back on this moment and realize it wasn't the end. It was the turning point. The moment you stopped seeing yourself as broken and started seeing yourself as becoming. So keep walking, keep fighting, keep becoming, because the world isn't done with you yet, and neither are you. Do you know what it means to keep walking? To keep going when every part of you is screaming to stop? It means you've chosen to defy everything. The pain, the fear, the memories. They don't own you. Not anymore. You're tired, aren't you? Tired of pretending you're okay. Tired of carrying the weight of everything you've been through. Tired of fighting battles no one else sees. I know that exhaustion. It's the kind of tired that seeps into your bones that makes you wonder if it's even worth it. But it is, because every step you take, every moment you endure, you're proving something. Proving that the world doesn't get to decide your worth. You do. Do you remember the first time you fell? The first time you felt the sting of failure? The first time someone's words cut you so deeply you thought you'd never recover? It felt like the end, didn't it? Like your entire world had been shattered. But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Because that moment, that breaking point, it didn't destroy you. It shaped you. It taught you that even in the face of absolute despair, you could survive. And that's what you are. A survivor. Not just of battles fought with blades and blood, but of the wars waged inside your mind. The kind of wars no one else sees. The kind that leave no visible scars but tear you apart from the inside out. But those wars, they didn't kill you. They made you. Do you think strength is about never falling? No. Strength is about falling 1,000 times and getting back up every single time. It's about facing the darkest parts of yourself and refusing to let them win. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing not the cracks, but the light that shines through them. You're tired of fighting, I know, but you're still here, and that means something. It means you haven't given up. It means you haven't let the world break you, no matter how hard it tried. It means you've chosen to keep going, even when every step felt like it was dragging you deeper into the abyss. And that choice, that's what makes you unstoppable. Because no matter how many times you fall, no matter how many times the darkness tries to pull you under, you rise. Again and again and again. You're not just fighting for yourself, you know. You're fighting for the people who couldn't. For the ones who didn't make it. For the ones who gave up when the weight became too much to bear. You carry their memories with you every step of the way. But you're also fighting for the person you're becoming. The person who can look back on this moment and say, I didn't quit. I didn't give in. I kept going, even when it felt impossible. That's what it means to be a warrior. You think warriors are fearless? No, we're terrified. We're terrified of failing, of losing, of not being enough. But we keep going anyway. We face that fear head on, not because we're stronger than it, but because we've learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's fighting through it. And you're the bravest warrior I've ever known. You've faced things most people couldn't even imagine. You've carried burdens that would crush anyone else. And yet, you're still here, still standing, still fighting. And do you know what that makes you? It makes you unbreakable. Yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've been shattered. But those cracks, they're where your light shines through. They're what make you beautiful. They're what make you strong. So don't hide them. Don't be ashamed of your scars. Wear them like armor, because they're proof of everything you've survived. You're not broken. You're becoming. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't just endure pain, but transforms it. The kind of person who takes every loss, every failure, every moment of despair, and uses it to build something stronger. And one day, when you look back on this moment, you'll see it for what it really is, not the end of your story, but the moment everything changed, the moment you chose to rise, the moment you decided that the darkness didn't own you, the moment you realized that you were never broken. You were always becoming.